And we are going to transition into a different type of a watch. This is a movie that came out on Netflix, and it came out this Christmas weekend. A little bit of a different kind of a Christmas watch, but overall, I mean, I think we thought it was pretty good. It got a pretty good review. So we're gonna watch Terror versus Bilal, which came out on Netflix. I know Em had a pretty decent time watching this, so I'm gonna let her take it away with her thoughts. Em, what was this about?
Okay, so when this movie released in theaters, it did not release in the United States. I remember putting it in our list to watch, and then we can find it anywhere
Yeah,
in theaters. So I was very disappointed because Harshvardhan Rane is one of my favorite actors. I've seen another movie of his where he's brilliant. He's probably one of the most underrated actors ever. And not only is he underrated in the acting department, he's really hot. So I was
perfect
looking
movie
for
for Em here.
a perfect movie for a hung hot list. He completely makes it every day of the year. So this movie is based in London. There's a girl who got married, and while getting married, she even sold her house and gave all the money to her husband, to be husband, who was going to invest it for a house for them in London. So by the way, her name is Tara Kaul. So a lot of little Kashmiri things
Yeah,
were
yeah.
were integrated into her wedding, her entire her relationship with her grandfather, everything, which was really cutely done and very fleetingly touched upon. She gets to England and they check into hotel, and the first night the guy disappears with all her money, including her mother's Kashmiri women wear their sign of being married in the earlobes here, and it's like a chain and a little gold thing. So he even takes that. He even cuts the thread and takes that and disappears on her. Now she's stranded. She has no money. He's taken every bit of money, her jewelry, everything precious to her, and left her in a hotel. She doesn't leave the hotel room for 4 days. She's that shocked. And the fifth day, this guy, his name is Bilal Khan. He's the son of the hotel owner, and hotel is owned by a woman, and helped by another other four women. And Bilal Khan walks into her room, opens the door, drags her out, throws her out on the street, and walks away. So then she remembers that while she was leaving India, a neighbor of theirs had given her a number of somebody they know, and they said she was a kind woman. So she goes looking for that address, and she reaches there only to meet that woman. And the woman is like, "Sorry, I don't have space, time, whatever. You can eat food and go." But during the entire process, the woman feels bad for her, and she actually hasn't told anybody, but she runs a drag bar. So everybody around her are drag queens,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
And then and there is her, and she becomes the accountant, and they take care of her work permit and everything else, and whatever. So she starts living with a in a hostel, kind of a dorm with the 4 or 5 drag queens, and that's her
Yeah.
and the auntie. So so then there is this entire episode of him coming to the drag bar with his best friend, who has a crush on one of the drag queens. So, so that's where things really, really get funny, because they hate each other. He's the one who's literally thrown her around on the road.
Yeah.
And then, some circumstance, which is very superfluously done, but, the whole movie has a very cute vibe. There's no judgment. There's no judgment of, number one, her being a Hindu and him being a Muslim. It's not even spoken of, right? There's no
Which is
judgment
great.
of the third gender, of
Yeah.
binaries. There's no judgment. There's no sermonization. There's no take home message.
Yeah.
It's just a slice of life where everybody accepts everybody else for who they are.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even speak of these things. And that's what I absolutely loved about how they treated all these issues. And that to a mainstream Hindi movie.
And I think this is the direction we'll see a lot of movies start heading towards too. Because you and I both noticed this, where movies would try and really be overly trying to normalize some of these things, versus just just letting it be normal
Be.
in the
Just
film.
let it be
Just letting
normal.
it be.
So that's what I absolutely loved, and kudos to the director's his name is Samar Iqbal, for just letting it be.
Right.
There was no, even when the situation is revealed to the aunties, there's a group of 4 or 5 aunties that rule Bilal's life, and he's a lawyer, but he didn't take a bar, so he's literally living off the hotel.
Yeah.
And he doesn't care. He has all the money in the world because the mothers are, his mother and his aunt and his other aunt and her cousins, the twin cousins, everybody's providing for it. But they're so supportive of him, and they don't even ask. When he decides that he's going to have a fake marriage with Tara, so he tells her, "I'll give you £15,000 to go back home. Let's have a fake marriage so my aunts are off my back for a wedding." And they think I'm heartbroken. They'll never bring it up again. So the whole plot was they get married and she dumps him. So during that entire process, they fall in love with each other, which is,
Of course.
stereotypical. You expect so many things in the movie. But what is fresh about the movie has definitely the way they've treated all these things. Even when the 4 aunties come to know that this is a girlfriend and she's not the same religion, there's no dialogues about religion. There's nothing. It's normalized.
Yeah.
Then when they realize that his friend is in love with a drag queen, question about it. They normalize that as well. They welcome everything. So I thought that was the biggest takeaway for me for this movie. I absolutely loved it. There's some scenes where I literally wanted to go hug Harshvardhan Rane because he is so he's so underrated and good looking that, oh gosh.
Sounds like we're giving it a must watch. Would you agree?
I loved the movie. It's totally sans sermons. It's totally normalizes a lot of things that we want to normalize in our society.
Of course.
Without talking about it.